Okay, so this is my prototype feature walkthrough. My name is Daniel Wogan, and I have recently finished my prototype after completing the usability test with a subject named John Kresniak and we found three primary issues with the layout of the Go Express travel website when it came to going to the Chicagoland Express portal, and then from there filling out travel information for pickup and drop-off time, and then filling out customer information up to your credit card information. And given these notes, I then worked on a prototype that touched up some of the aesthetics and display of information for the Go Express website. The one in front of us right now is the original one with and from here is where I addressed the very first thing. And now we are on the prototype where, as you can see, I have made the buttons across the top far bigger so they have a bigger pull in, to the eye. And the link we need is right here, the Chicagoland Express. Now, originally, if you click it, another part of the first issue would come up where if you click this, you'd be redirected to a new page with an entirely different aesthetic, and I feel like that was very disorienting workflow-wise for the first-time user, and John was also taken aback by this. And so now when I click on this, instead of being redirected to an entirely new page, you get a drop-down menu, and then these would also have been displayed on that entirely different web page, where now it's just a drop-down menu, so you're not redirected at all to another tab. So you just click Reserve Now, and now we go on to the next part. So across the top there was initially just a couple of these rows where it was just the first three right here, and I elected to have all of these put on each screen through the reservation process, so that the first-time user gets an idea of all that's required of them right from the get-go. So it's not just from one page to the next that they don't know what is expected of them for their first time reserving a shuttle. So from here, as you can tell, they've entered in no info, and then once they would enter in their information for travel, date, and number of passengers, they would click Continue. And then they would go to the next page where their information has now been updated with what they entered in previously, and they still need to select all of this information traveling from, to, and the times. And another issue that was one of the three that we found was selecting one of these, the pickup locations, and one of the drop-off locations. You would have to guess at which ones were available and which ones were not, which led to a lot of frustration, especially if you had a specific location for pickup and drop-off in mind, and you'd have to keep clicking Continue to find out which ones were available. So another thing I elected to do was to just have the ones crossed off for where the times were just unavailable for pickup here, and so that they wouldn't be presented as an option to entertain the notion of people trying to plan around that, and that is also connected to the date here, so it eliminates a lot of the guesswork, and I think that'll prove to be the case the second time around for the usability test. So now, after you click Continue again, you are presented with the summary of information, but now it's been updated as you went along rather than being presented with little bits of it at a time on the previous pages, and now you see the summation of all your information here. And then down here, the user, like normal, would enter in their information up until the credit card, and that was all that was required of them. And I think the improvements I made would make on this prototype would make for a much more streamlined process and make the user more aware of what's available to them for reserving a shuttle to Chicago. And we'll see if this is effective in the over-the-shoulder video. Thank you.